Alright, so I'm out here today, got a day off, and this is going to be the first official day of fall, so first thing I was going to do here is get this thing jacked up, and I want to get two block under each corner. When we first set this thing, we only did one. I didn't really bring anything to jack it up or do anything like that. And then I want to make sure it's leveled. I brought a level along to make sure it's somewhat level, or maybe even a slight pitch on it, just so that the water runs off the top. It obviously had rained out here last night again because everything is pretty wet again. So I may set the tractor and loader up and just crawl on top to see what the actual roof of this thing looks like as well. And then I'll go through some stuff here about the shipping container as well. So obviously if it rained now would be a good chance to see if there's any water on the inside of this thing, which I'm doubting that there is, but I guess there's always a chance, so we'll find that out as well. So let me get set up here and I'll get going. Alright, so you can definitely see there, definitely not very level. I did put the level, so this would be the left and right of the shipping container, and if we go the other way, it's actually really close to being level, so that's good. And I put it in the front and the back, and I don't know how much, if there's like, I don't know if you want to call it crowning or whatever here, you know, it feels like it's pretty flat there as well, and I'm getting basically the same reading again. Ideally what I want to do is get two blocks under each corner now. Looking at this, to get this thing to come level, we got to come up quite a bit on that end. So I don't know, I might have to do some, might have to jack up this side here and actually dig down a little bit, because that's kind of the way it looks like it was when we put it in. Also, this door here, when I try to open it, it was really hard to get closed. So I'm wondering too if that the whole shipping container is not tweaked a little bit, because it's not sitting level just the way it is. So we'll find out. Thinking I probably should move the tractor out just to make it easier for jacking up and that we don't bend anything. Just a few quick notes here. This thing was obviously painted. Like, I don't know if the guy I bought it from painted the inside, or if that's how he got it from whoever used it to ship the stuff from China to the United States. But that's what the white stuff on the floor is. That's all overspray paint. I thought it was powder. And when I open this thing up, it smells like fresh paint, extremely fresh. It smells like it could still be wet. It's obviously not, but I don't know, they must do that just so it looks nice. And you can see here's that dent from the outside. So obviously it's not through. You could probably straighten it out with a 2x4 and a hammer. But like I said, anything on the outside, if there's any scratches, I want to kind of touch up with some paint. But overall cost, this shipping container was $3,500, and that was with tax. There was tax on this, so there was no way of getting around that. But it's in pretty good shape. It's in pretty good shape for the shape it is. But anyway, that's what it kind of looks like. It's not bad. I talked about there is no such thing as new shipping containers. They're all at least a one trip, and that's what this is. It's a one trip shipping container. So all right, I'm gonna get the jack set up here and move the tractor out. Okay, so I just got done with the front here. Boy, it's supposed to be 90 degrees. This is the first day of fall. 90 degrees and humid, and right now I am just sweating. Whew, it was 78 degrees on the way out. Unbelievable. Anyway, so what I did was I lifted on over here. I can show you. I had the jack. I didn't dig it out very well because it was kind of in a rush the first time. So when I lifted it up, the jack kind of slid, and then this whole shipping container went off, and it actually fell off this block here. So then I was like, okay. I came around to this side, and I dug it out much nicer, put the jack underneath, jacked it up, and I'm like, well, I'm going to start with this corner because I know this corner is high. So I was going to try to bring it down. Well, the problem with that is there's a stupid tree here, and there's a root. That's why I can't run the blocks back. So instead of fiddle-faddling around with that, I just leveled it. I leveled the blocks both left and right, front and back, so they should be pretty good. And then I went to this side and I added some material. And you can kind of see I packed it down a little bit, but What I did was I set the level up where it is right there, oops, right there, and then I put the jack where you saw it there, lifted it until I got this a little above level so that this corner here was a little high, and then I got these blocks fit well at that high point, and I figure over time it's going to sink in anyway because that was kind of disturbed earth there. And as you can see now, that is pretty close. Actually, I think that's dead on looking at it now. So maybe it's settled in already. So my next step is I'm going to go to the back of the container on the outside, and I'm going to lift basically right in the middle. And I think I'm going to try to keep the thing pretty level. I don't know, I was thinking about moving the tractor and taking a look at the roof just to see if there's water pooling. And if there is, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to put just a little bit of a pitch on this roof here of this shipping container. So some tools here of the trade is going to be in this case, a floor jack. I'm just using an E-tool. I couldn't really get a bigger shovel in the Subaru without dropping seats, and I figured this will actually work better because I could use this like a hoe, kind of dig underneath, and then if I actually need to do any light shoveling I could. So this works out pretty well that way. So I did just take a preliminary reading off the level there, and it's showing that it's almost level where it's sitting, and you can see it's not on the block there, it's actually off. So these blocks here I might have to dig down just a little bit, but before we get too carried away, I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drive the tractor in here and then climb up on the bucket and just see what the top of the roof of this thing looks like. Alright, so there's no standing water on it, no dents, so that's pretty cool. Everything looks like it's in pretty good condition there. I don't see any patches either. So he said it was a new one. I took the guy's word for it because he seemed like a pretty honest guy. When you look at used shipping containers, they can actually, if they get a hole, they can patch them and then they'll paint them to kind of like blend that in. So sometimes you'll see like a big square plate that's been welded to fix a hole. If maybe a forklift operator punctured the container or something like that. This looks pretty good. There's a chunk of mud there. I don't know how that got up there. Maybe that was up there the whole time, but I'm gonna knock that off. I'm gonna crawl up here and then go from there. This is pretty cool. Alright, so standing on top of the shipping container, I can tell you this, it is definitely not sitting on the blocks. Like I said, I got to finish leveling the back, and you can feel that. It just feels like it's unstable right now. It's kind of shaking a little bit, but overall this roof is really sturdy. That's pretty cool. But this here, that's frustrating. I don't know how that got up there. Yeah, but overall, like I said, it's a pretty good shape. I guess once I start bringing some tools and leaving stuff out here, I could bring a broom, probably leave a shovel, and I could come up here and wash this off. Who knows? This could have been a dried piece of dirt from a different shipping container that was stacked on top. I'm sure that's what it was. So yeah, and this actually might be somewhere in here where the forks come in to lift it. There's a spot or whatever, so I suppose that might be what it's from. But yeah, this isn't bad. Nice breeze. So I don't know, I'm thinking too, I want to get that wood rack moved. That's not going to be today. I've been talking about that for seems like enough time too already, but I kind of like where this shipping container's at, but maybe clearing some of this out back here. There's a lot of immature trees in here anyway. I don't know, that oak looks okay. This right here might be dead. We could drop that. Now kind of open up this area because this is a nice it's high ground and it's relatively flat. It just needs to be cleared out a little bit. There's just a lot of underbrush. So, and that was my other thing today too. If I don't get too hot and sweaty, I didn't bring a chainsaw because I knew it was going to be too hot for that. I may just clear all this out, all this garbage in here, and make that look a little bit nicer. So, alright, let me get back to leveling this thing out here. All right, so I got it leveled here. This door goes hard. I'm not sure why. There's definitely something with that it's not quite, something's not quite right, and it's this rod here. You really got to put a lot of tension on this handle, push it in to get the latch underneath, and I don't know, something got tweaked maybe when we pulled it off. I'm not sure. That one definitely goes in pretty hard. So if we check here, so this is on the, that's hard to see with the light, side of the shipping container here. You can see that's pretty good. How straight this is here. Let me put this in there. You can see it's not quite as nice. Maybe you can't see, the camera won't focus. It's still pretty close. Like I said, I leveled out all the blocks. Next time I come out, I'm going to bring a rake out here and try to pull some of the material from underneath. The only points you really need blocks are where those like square ends are with the circle, because that's where they can stack them. Those slots is where they pick them then with a forklift or whatever they're using to lift them with. So, and I knew this spot wasn't very level. You can tell I had to dig out quite a bit there, but then over there I pretty much just left it as is. I packed some gravel around that bottom block just so that it's not hanging completely out there. But here again, we can see there, it's not, come on camera, it's not quite square or plumb. And this one here, that's a terrible shot. Let me see if I can get it this way. Not really. That one's much better. So, like I said, I did the blocks. I'll get a rake or something and kind of pull the material out. I think the more airflow you get underneath this thing, the longer they'll last. They won't rot out. So, and there'll probably be leaves and stuff, otherwise they get jammed up underneath there and that'll hold moisture. The only thing I'm worried about here once I get the tractor in today is that now I'm so far off the ground, I don't want to have this thing fall off those blocks when I drive it back in there, because that's a pretty good step. That's any indicator there. This is a 2-foot level, so it's got to be at least 12 inches off the ground. I kind of like this idea here, how I did the block like this, because then I could set something on here and make a ramp across. But then I thought, well, I could also probably just stack 2 more blocks right alongside this block and do the same thing instead of trying to re-level, because this took a while to get the level out. Probably should have had like a rubber hammer or something to pound on the block too. That may have helped, but I didn't. So yeah, I don't know. I have to figure something out with a ramp though. So okay, so some information here about the shipping container. The overall height inside, so we're talking from the bottom lip there to the top where this channel comes across, or this tubing. That's 8'6" for your height. And then your overall inside usable area, I would say, is somewhere between 19 inches and probably probably up to where this gasket is here, so you got a couple more inches, but if you figure 19, that's quite a bit. So, and then your overall width that we're looking at here, if we go side to side, see if I can get this here. Oh, probably not going to be able to. So your overall width is going to be about 7 foot, I'd say 7'7". So that gives you a pretty good idea of what it looks like. Now, I was told this weighs 5,000 empty. I have no way of telling you whether that's true or not. But that'll give you an idea too. They call it a 20, this is a 20-foot container, so outside dimensions probably are going to get you close to 20. And then, like I said, the overall height is 8'6" inside, but if you look here, it says 9 foot 9'6", so that's your outside from the bottom of your point there to the top of the point up there is 9'6". So this is a high cube. An 8-foot container would probably only give you about 7 foot. You lose about a foot of clearance in the inside. At least that's what I was told. So, all right. So, and then if you remember, I did some leveling out in here as well. Cleaned up some of this area, opened it up quite a bit. All right, so everything that I moved here is with that little John Deere. Pushes it around pretty well. Obviously the four-wheel drive's got to be engaged to do some of the pushing that I did. And if you recall, all this in here had all those little tiny pine trees. You know, they're all about inch, maybe 2 inch. There were some that were a little bit bigger. I basically just pushed them over. So I opened this up a lot. Just trying to get an idea of what I think. I don't know, maybe I'll try to sneak a garage back in there someday. Might not be a bad spot to put one either. And running the John Deere there too, wide open, is really the only way to run it if you're going to do anything like this. I was basically using it like a dozer and just pushing, so cleared everything out here. I pushed it up that way, and then coming over here, I've just kept pulling the stuff back and trying to push it to a point where there's trees I can't take down or I'm not willing to take down. And then eventually trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this area here. Alright, so that's it for now. Get everything put away. Definitely going to need a ramp. I can tell you it was really difficult getting the tractor in. So I'll have to work on that next, and then we'll see where we go from there. Alright, so that's it for now.